Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. We're here at Expona 2016. We're with Andrew Jones from ELAC. You have been shaking things up here, Andrew. You've got such a history, of course. You designed one of the best-known audiophile speakers, the Reference One, but with Pioneer and Infinity. You have just thrown all that out the window, haven't you? And you said, I can do this better, and we can sell them for a lot cheaper. Talk about what you're doing at ELAC now.
Well, first of all, hi to Cool Cleveland. So it is actually cool in Cleveland. That's good to know. So yes, I've started with ELAC now, and my mission right now is doing really entry-level price points that surprise people. We've forgotten about people trying to get into the hobby of hi-fi, and we want a way to do that, to produce speakers that are affordable but give really surprising value and meet that need. And it's cool to be doing that, because it's fine to be selling, designing $80,000 speakers, but I kind of actually know most of the people who bought them, because it's a very, very limited market. Here I'm meeting a surprisingly range of new people. But
this is the thing, is that audiophiles, everybody kind of knows each other, right? But you've opened this up to people. I mean, you've got speakers in the couple $100 range. Everyone wants to know, well, how do you manage to do it? You've got good ears. You're not putting out product that doesn't sound good. You've made compromises in certain areas, but you're very sort of open about what kind of compromises you're making.
Yes. Everything is about compromising and knowing how to compromise. But you can't know how to compromise until you already know what's possible. And because I'm directly responsible for doing the high-end product as well as mid-range and now low-end, I've got always in my head a reference point of what I want to achieve. And I know I'm always failing to achieve that. Obviously, I'm failing to achieve what I could with TAD. But I'm able to measure that and understand where I'm going, what's the best way to blend all those different compromises. It's like cooking. You've got a recipe, you're going to mix and match till you know which ingredients are important, which ones you can get away with. So I'm always looking at that. Should I put the money in the drivers or in the crossover or in the cabinet? And cabinet is one of those areas where I actually compromised. I started off with my prototype, all thick oak cabinet walls and cross bracing, and realized that the contribution compared to the cost wasn't what I needed.
And I'm guessing that a lot of this is in the design. You can get away with things if you have good design, and since you're designing some really high-end speakers, you're applying that design to some of the low-end models, I'm assuming?
Yes, it's all to do with that experience. I think because we forgot the bottom end of the market, a lot of people who were in big companies who were providing that kind of equipment, it was, I guess we have to. The stores want something, but they weren't really paying attention to that, or even applying the knowledge that the experienced guys had to the engineers who were doing that product category.
So are you looking at people and saying, I'm designing this for a different kind of person that wants to hear a certain kind of music, and you think, oh, young people, and they're streaming it, or they're Bluetoothing it, or they're listening to these compressed files? Or are you just using your ears as an audiophile and saying, I'm going to make the best speakers possible? Because they are going to be sticking their iPhone into this, and they're going to be using it in specific ways that are very different from your audiophile high-end users, right?
Yes, but to some degree, doing something better applies universally across all genres of music. Although I am emphasizing with these speakers the capability of bass dynamics, because a lot of modern music really is driven by that. And yes, with jazz and classical, we need extended bass to feel the whole range of music, but we don't have to reduce it at the levels that we do with some EDM or rap music. And so I'm being mindful of that when I design. Just like when you design for home theatre, some of the things you design for is no different than with regular music. But there is something like with sound effects of explosions that have much more dynamics at the low end than traditional music. I have to be mindful of that when I'm designing these speakers.
So you've just had a revolution here in some of these products, and you've had lines out the door. I'm glad I was able to get in here for a couple minutes. Seriously, what's next? If you could talk about that for a second, where are you headed next? Because we're dying to know what you're thinking and what you're planning.
I'm definitely going to move gradually upwards with product categories because I want to, but also even within what I've done, recognizing both what's missing in some of the electronics that I can contribute to do something innovative, and also adding electronics into the speakers. The new market doesn't expect to get a DAC and a preamp and a power amp and wire it all together and all this. It's plug in a pair of speakers, I should be done. So I'm going to be doing that. Because we've got electronics capability, we're also going to, let's say, activate some of these speakers. And so they're an endpoint to our music server, or a computer, and you're done. And it gives an engineering advantage doing that way, but it offers, let's say, less choice compared to the traditional audiophile route of, I want to control myself every part of the equipment mixing and matching that I'm doing. When you put electronics into the speaker, you've taken that away. But from an engineering point of view, there's an advantage. Sure. And from the new market, that's what people are wanting, that simplicity. And so the simpler we can make it, the easier, then the better. It's adding that into the product mix.
And simple is better. They just want it to sound good, really. So thank you for doing that, Andrew. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes here and talking about what you're doing. And hopefully we'll see you back here in the Midwest next year.
All right. Thank you. I shall certainly be back. It's been a good show.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in Cool Cleveland.